former Cowboy suddenly available for reunion after surprise Week 3 release. Former Dallas tight end Payton Hendershot was waived by the Kansas City Chiefs on Monday. According to Tom Pelissero of the NFL Network, the Chiefs are waiving the 25-year-old tight end after he made his Chiefs debut on Sunday. Hendershot played 7 snaps on special teams and none on offense. So one day after making his Kansas City debut, and after getting fined for coming to Patrick Mahomes' defense in the opener, the former #Cowboys tight end heads to waivers. The Chiefs acquired Hendershot from Dallas ahead of last month's roster cut-down deadline in exchange for a conditional 2026 seventh-round pick. With Hendershot done in Kansas City, Dallas could entertain bringing the 6'4" tight end back, but he must clear waivers first. Hendershot spent the first 2 years of his NFL career with the Cowboys. The former Indiana pass catcher was viewed as a potential cut candidate in the preseason due to his inability to stay healthy. Hendershot missed most of the preseason this summer because of a shoulder injury. He only played in 8 games last season due to an injury, forcing him to get off-season surgery. The former Indiana standout only posted 4 receptions, 7 targets, for 38 yards, playing behind Luke Schoonmaker and Jake Ferguson. With the Cowboys' tight end room possibly getting Ferguson back this week, the team might be better off passing on a reunion with Hendershot. Schoonmaker played well in Dallas' Week 2 loss against the New Orleans Saints, 6 receptions for 43 yards. Lastly, the Cowboys still want to see what UDFA Brevin Spanford can do as he beat out Hendershot for the T3 spot. Dallas Cowboys' most important backup/role player from Week 2 named. The Dallas Cowboys slipped in the latest NFL power rankings following Week 2, but veteran cornerback Jordan Lewis received some praise. After a disappointing team effort by the Dallas Cowboys in Week 2 against the New Orleans Saints, Cowboy Nation is looking for any positive notes. With NFL power rankings being released, the reality that the team took a major step back in the loss. ESPN.com released its updated power rankings, but added a spotlight 1-1 player for each team in the league. For the Cowboys, that player was cornerback Jordan Lewis, who was named the team's most important backup or role player. Lewis is the team's starter at nickel, but he received extra work on the outside in Week 2 because of the absence of All-Pro cornerback Darren Bland, who was expected to miss 6 to 8 weeks after foot surgery, and inexperience of rookie cornerback Kalen Carson. Todd Archer noted, Lewis is like a starter as the nickel corner, considering how much the Cowboys play their sub-packages defensively. He sets the tone just as much as Micah Parsons and DeMarcus Lawrence with his physicality. He is unafraid to set the edge in the run game. He's capable of working the slot against receivers, tight ends, or running backs. By the end of last week's loss to New Orleans, he was working on the outside, too. If the coaches don't like what rookie Kalen Carson is doing in place of an injured Darren Bland, they can go to Lewis more. That is high praise for Lewis, who will likely see additional work until Bland returns. We'll see if he can continue making a big impact on the field when the team returns to action against defending NFL MVP Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens in Week 3. Cowboys encouraged to sign former Eagles starter immediately. The Dallas Cowboys lost to the New Orleans Saints on Sunday, September 15, in a lopsided 44-19 final tally. In a September 16 piece for Bleacher Report, NFL writer and expert Matt Holder notes that it was a humbling Week 2 for Mike McCarthy's crew as the Saints jumped out to an early lead and never looked back. That leaves Dallas searching for answers at 1-1 with a matchup against Baltimore next week. He also names a former Philadelphia Eagles player who he says the team should add now. In a list titled One Move Every Team Still Needs to Make This Offseason, BR wrote that the Dallas Cowboys need to sign Cunningham in the wake of Leighton Vander Esch's retirement. Meanwhile, Cunningham is still available and has a history of being a quality run stopper. Specifically in 2023, he recorded a 70.7 run defense grade from Pro Football Focus and racked up 85 total tackles in 13 games. The 29-year-old would be a good option next to free agent signing Eric Kendricks on the second level of the defense. Cunningham, a second-round pick by the Texans in 2017, was traded by Houston to the Tennessee Titans during the 2021 season. He was thought to be a missing piece on defense for a Tennessee team that secured a 12-5 record and the number 1 seed in the AFC playoffs that season, but the Titans bowed out to the eventual conference champion Cincinnati Bengals in the divisional round. Prior to his departure from Houston, Cunningham proved he was one of the league's most productive linebackers. He finished with at least 107 tackles from 2018 to 2020, which was highlighted by a 2020 season that saw him lead the league with 164 total tackles. Last season with Philly, Cunningham appeared in 13 games while posting 85 total tackles, 1 fumble recovery and 4 passes defended. Zach Cunningham could help slow down the running game. In the piece, titled "Prioritizing Every Roster's Biggest Weaknesses Before Week 3, Holder suggests adding linebacker Zach Cunningham to the Cowboys roster. He has Cunningham under the Add Now designation. While the Cowboys linebackers played well in Week 1, they struggled to contain Alvin Kamara on Sunday, he stated. Kamara rushed for 115 yards, 5.8 yards per carry, and 4 touchdowns to go along with 65 yards and another score as a receiver. Cunningham could at least help slow down the running game, so he might be worth keeping around on the practice squad, at least as a just-in-case option. Cunningham was selected by the Houston Texans in the second round of the 2017 NFL Draft as the 57th overall pick. The Texans waived Cunningham in December of 2021, and the Tennessee Titans claimed him off waivers that same month. Texas released him in February of 2023, and the Eagles signed Cunningham in August of 2023. He became a free agent in March 2023. In a September 14 piece for Section 215, writer Devin Platana discusses former Eagles players who are free agents, including Cunningham. He had some not-so-flattering things to say about the linebacker's time with the Eagles. Zach Cunningham only spent 1 season with the Eagles, and it was forgettable, to say the least, he wrote. The former 2017 57th overall selection registered 54 solo tackles, 4 broken-up passes and a fumble recovery in 13 games with Philadelphia while failing to do anything memorable. His play also worsened as the season progressed as he finished with a Pro Football Focus defense grade of 59.6 or worse in 6 of his last 9 games. Platana added, "At the end of the day, Cunningham is an inconsistent tackler and pass rusher who also has his struggles in coverage. Until he can prove that he can play more of a complete game, his job opportunities will be few and far between." Speedy wide receiver Brandon Cooks is an impending free agent and turns 31 years old at the end of the month, he stated. Meanwhile, Dallas also has several other players whose contracts are about to expire and might be a bigger priority than Cooks. But if the wideout isn't retained, the offense will need a deep threat out wide. He concluded, that's where Atwell can come in, as he's been known as a burner since coming out of college. He'd be a downgrade from Cooks overall, but the 24-year-old who turns 25 next month would be a more salary cap-conscious addition and can at least threaten defenses down the field.